Welcome to this week's edition of the Old Paratrooper podcast. But before we get started, I want to tell you about our new sponsors, Veterans for Veterans. If you served after 1987 and your hearing's taken a knock from your time in the forces, these are the people to speak to. They've helped thousands of veterans like us claim compensation for tinnitus and hearing loss. They're ex-military themselves, so they genuinely get it.
It's free to check if you qualify, and the claims are no win, no fee. To get started, click the link in this video or visit veteransforveterans.co.uk.
Stories from the edge where the healing begins.
But I don't think I could do a 10. I don't think I could do a 1.
No. Well, I a few years after I left, when I was working in Iraq, I decided to join 4-para up in Leeds, up in Pudsey. So I just because it was good.
What was your company?
Oh God, I was there. I didn't do too long in it because I was away working on the ships. It never worked out.
Yeah.
I could never make the commitment. So I did a few weekends over a year, but they said, look, you're not making enough commitment. And there was a reason for me doing it in a way. One, to challenge myself, but secondly, because I was working in the Middle East, there was a lot of lads leaving the military with loads of experience from Afghanistan. So it was becoming difficult and more competitive to get on contracts, close protection contracts, bodyguarding contracts in Iraq. So I joined 4-para to try and kind of get myself current again with weapons, weapon handling and all that kind of stuff. So that's why I did it. But I turned up to do the 10-miler and he was like, you'll be fine. I've been out 6 or 7 years.
Oh, my God.
Never put on any green card. And he was like, are you happy to just do a P Company 10-miler? And that'll be enough. You can, you're in. You don't have to do the full thing. I'm like, yeah, sound. So handed me a Bergen and at Catterick, before you know it, I'm doing a P Company 10-miler. And I passed it, but I was hanging out my arse. And I was doing that bit where I was helping all the stragglers at the back. But I was hanging out my arse, really. But I was like, come on, get up there. But, yeah.
How old were you when you did that?
Oh, God, 30, I think. But I left at 24, so I've been out 6 years.
And you're 40...
I've not done that sort of... 44 now.
Do you reckon you could do it now if your life depended on it? Or do you think something would
I went... About 2013, I went and did the what's the thing they do every year for charity, the P Company 10-miler. It's called something.
Yeah, I just had it last week.
Yeah, they do them for charity, don't they?
They just had that last week.
Paris 10. Paris 10.
That's it. They just had it last week.
Yeah. Well, I went up and did one of them about 2013, and I actually came round with the new OC. I come round 1 hour 32.
Oh.
Round Catterick training area with £35 Bergen.
Oh, you were in trainers or boots?
I was in boots, but I was in shorts, I was in boots, and I was in a Power Edge t-shirt.
And you didn't have
with a Bergen.
As well?
No weapon, but £35, and came round 1 hour 32 with a new OC P Company that was taken over. And he was like, he beat me on by about 1.5 seconds across the line.
Wow.
And he was slagging me off. And I turned around to him and, yeah, but I've been out nearly 10 years. I was like, you're the OC P Company. You should be beating me. And he soon shut up.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I couldn't. The answer to your question, Alex, no. I genuinely carry far too many.
It's use it or lose it.
The running side of it or tabbing like that, no, I'm too broken for that.
I believe you could do it. I believe I can do it. I mean, from what I've done, I've had over 300 fights, and every time I've gone to a fight, there's nothing. I've never been in peak perfect condition. There's always some niggle, and that's the same with every fighter. So the same with P Company. Everyone, any sportsman, it's very rare when you turn up to the day of the event completely healthy. There's always some little niggle here or there. You won't talk about it, but there's going to be something a bit sore there, because you've been pushing your body to the absolute limit for however many 8 to 12 weeks beforehand. But my point is, we could do it, but I know I could force myself. I've got like safety mechanisms Well, we all have naturally, but I can turn all those off with my hypnotherapy, and I can go beyond the safety point to like, you could actually kill yourself here. It's
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Actually, you made me rethink it. I think I could get round a P Company 10 miler. What state I'd be in at the end of it, that's a different story.
and how I don't know if I'd be able to do it in 2 hours.
Yeah. So anyway, so yeah, you got through P Company. You obviously you served with 10 para, and then you decide you did sort of how many years did you say you did with 10 para? 5 years.
93 to 98.
So yeah, a good 5 years. Obviously, I've spoke to you about this anyway. You said you enjoyed your time with it, but what led you to leave doing it? Was it kind of what you moved on to next? Was you already cage fighting by then, or doing kickboxing stuff?
I hadn't had a cage fight at that point. I'd done a world sport jiu-jitsu. Let's call it sport jiu-jitsu tournament in '96. And I left in '98. So I was really big into. I became the unarmed combat instructor, and I didn't know what I was doing because I was fighting all the time. Okay, let's get you in. That was the one thing I was disappointed. I wanted to become a proper ninja in the army, and nobody really. They didn't really have a program back then.
No, it wasn't that sort of thing, was it? People do think that they kind of, but you don't do the unarmed kind of stuff, do you?
I think they do. I don't know. Do the SAS have that? Do they have
the SAS will probably do something. The Royal Marines do hand-to-hand combat kind of stuff. I know that much.
That's why.
But no, it's not something.
I mean, the fact that we should all be doing some martial arts.
Absolutely.
Where was I? What were we saying?
Just talking about how like when you was kind of the crossover while being with 10 para and starting your kind of jiu-jitsu and martial arts career.
You're asking me about why I left. Why did I leave the paras? I became not so much political, but starting to look into why do wars start? What's going on in the world? And the corruption. And I was probably woke. Say how anti-woke I am now. I was probably woke back then, before woke was a thing. I'd be like, are we really the good guys? Are we the good guys? Should I be going and doing this? And I'd be having these questions, philosophical debates. I'd have debates with my dad. Because my dad, as much as he was pacifist, he was like, he didn't believe that we should have done the Falklands. So I'd have philosophical debates. Although he's proud to be a para, which was the juxtapose of it all, he was like, I don't know if we should have done that. We could have saved a few lives. And I get that. I get he wants to save lives, but then it's a very delicate philosophical debate, which I'm probably not going to have now. But I was unsure about going and exerting our right here as a fighting force to our way of life around the world. And now in hindsight, I'm pro that. I think, as Jordan Peterson says, we need to have very strong, powerful, scary badasses on the planet who control it, because that's what keeps order. I didn't really see that back then. I was too woke. And you shouldn't question whether something's right or wrong as a soldier. It's not your job. Your job is to go and follow orders. And I know we said earlier on, you weren't fighting for country. You were fighting for your mates next to you. But in the long scheme of things, I was like, well, why am I here in the first place? Why are we going to do, those are questions. I do believe now, in hindsight, we do need to be in certain places in the world to sort problems out. But back then I was like, why am I getting involved in someone else's fight? It's like Muhammad Ali said, I ain't got no fight with the Viet Cong. That's why I went to prison as a conscientious objector. And I was like, I don't know where I stand here. And when you're asking these questions, you can't ask these questions as a soldier. Well, you can, but they're not really good when you're the one who's got to go and actually do the nasty. You're the one who's going to have to kick the door down and,
It is, and the interesting thing you say about that is because you do look back at hindsight, and it's like I believe there was good that came out of the British Army being in certain places. whether the overall picture was for the right reasons is a different matter. Like you say, they're all political and they're all hidden agendas. And I relate to the Afghanistan, the massive loss of life. The girls and the guys, they like being out there and doing what they did out there. But at the same time, look what happened when the government decided to hand it back to the Taliban or to the local national. And within months, the Taliban took over Afghanistan. And you makes you wonder what it was all worthwhile.
Yeah.
So was it a hidden agenda? Was it a government thing that they kind of, so that's,
Well, I know
I
biggest
don't know.
industry
I
in the
believe
world,
we were there to do good, but
the biggest business in the world, bar none, is war. So when you understand
it's
that, you're like, right, okay, so let's keep war going. Let's create more problems. Let's arm these nutters who are a bit more radical, and because they're gonna create more problems. Oh, guess what? That's great. Let's go and give the Taliban millions and not millions, billions of high tech equipment. Because guess what? We can. Oh, it's great business. Oh, we're gonna have to get some more weapons now. It's gonna make the arms dealers even more money. Second biggest business, food, drugs.
Pharmaceutical.
They're all related. Everything's related. It's all related.
Oh, of course it is. But yeah, it is. It's one of them, isn't it? But I understand your reasoning, Power, and that's nice. So the cage fighting and that. So you got into, obviously you're kind of a well-known figure in the mixed martial art career. You fought for Bellator, Cage Rage, Bama. So how did you get into that? And I suppose what I want to come onto is like because hopefully I've got. I don't know if you know. Have you heard of Jack Marshman, X3 Para?
Yeah, I'm a fan. Jack.
I'm hoping to get Jack on in the not so distant future.
Do.
I've been chatting with him.
I support him. He's a good guy. He
yeah, definitely.
He was the Bama world champion, I believe. British
he was a good
Association Mixed Martial Arts champion. I fought for the world title for Bama against Tom Watson, and Jack Marshman, very good fighter. I don't know, is he still a paratrooper?
No, not anymore. No, he's left to concentrate full time. But I think he's into the bare knuckle at the minute. He's just won his first bare knuckle quite recently, so he's moved into that. I believe, because I think I don't know what age he is. He must be mid-30s now. So.
See, I thought about going into the bare knuckle, and I thought, oh, I'm doing it just for ego. I'm older now. It's just silly. I mean, I can understand like Mike Tyson fighting Jake Paul. I can actually stand. There's 25 million reasons why, even though it was a whole clown show, really. Let's be real. I'd be a clown for 25 million.
Well, look. Let's see. Mike's famously over the years been absolutely had his money and manipulated because of the character he is, and people have took advantage of him. So my argument was, look, let's look at reality here, right? I'm not just talking a prime 27-year-old, a 20-year-old Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson at 27, Mike Tyson at 37, Mike Tyson at 47 would have ruined Jake Paul. And I believe even a Mike Tyson at 57, if he wasn't paid and it wasn't scripted, would have ruined a 27-year-old Jake Paul. I mean, he did look a bit uneasy on his feet. I'm not going to say like his legs had gone a bit.
He pulled his punches. He could have knocked him out when he
I
won.
think he did.
And
I've seen all the footage.
Saudi Sheikh has just offered 800 million for Nike to knock out Jake Paul in another fight in under 3 minutes. I mean, if I'm Jake Paul, I'd take that fight. Great. I'll go down in the first minute.
Yeah, for 800 million.
800 million. I'm like, oh, yeah, you can't do that. You're cheating. You say, 800 million.
I think the bugbear with people was like people wanted it to be a legitimate fight, and people feel like they've paid pay-per-view, made a lot of money for people, and not actually they've seen a scripted sort of pantomime kind of fight. That's I think where people's bugbear is. But also we know reality. You're looking under around if Mike went in there with the actual.
Of course. But
so would
you do bare knuckle?
I've really, really, really considered it, and I've been offered one or two opportunities. One recently to fight in Rotherham on a bare knuckle show, and I did consider it, but same as you, really, it's a bit like, why? What am I doing? I've got other things that I could be doing. No, it's not. They're low level shows, but you have to kind of work your way up. But I actually fought a guy in the unlicensed on the unlicensed thing that went on. I beat him in a heavyweight fight, and he went on to become the world heavyweight bare knuckle champion about 6 months after I beat him. So
There you go.
that's what made me think. That's what made me think. Shall I? Shan't I? But no, I'm not. I broke my hand. I broke this hand 2 or 3 times, so I know if I go bare knuckle, this hand will go.
It's interesting. You know, it was the box like this.
Yeah.
They
Put them up.
They did that on purpose because they were trying to punch you with this bit. They
Save the
They
hands.
didn't want to hit you too hard because they were prize fights. That was their livelihood. They weren't trying to hit you too hard because the head's so bloody hard. I've had probably 3 or 4 street fights in my life, real street fight, and I'm like, thank goodness I haven't had that many. That's 3 or 4 street fights too many. And one guy hit me so hard, and it put my head down. My head went back, but thank God it wasn't. It didn't go back like that because that would have caused whiplash. It went like that because I had my head down. He busted his hand. He turned into a baby. Now pretty much turned. The head is so hard. That's why they didn't. They punched like this. They're trying to hit you and cut you. You know, not too hard. You know. I don't know if you knew that. Did you know about that?
I didn't know that. No, I
They don't
didn't
want
know that, which
why
does
don't
make
they turn
sense.
it over? It's here. They want to just cut you with
Yeah.
this because this often gets damaged on the hard callous head. Put your head down. The head's bloody hard. That's why
Yeah,
I
you're not
teach
wrong there.
self-defense. I have to. The open palm is actually really devastating. You look at people like Bas Rutten, Ken Shamrock, Frank Shamrock. The power you can generate is actually weirdly safer in a street fight. But we don't. I mean, the street fight happens. You literally want to hit them as hard as you can. But it's so careful. Yeah, hit someone in the right spot, but still, they're gonna. If someone knows what they're doing, you're better off. The power you can get, or a slap round the ear. But we're getting into fighting now. I don't mean to sound like I'm being violent, but the perforating the eardrum, bosh. You know.
Yeah, but it's good. It's good. I'm a big believer. The same as you is like everyone should be taught. One, because you become disciplined, and I have been since I've been boxing more over the years. I've been involved. I don't know whether that's because I've got older, but I've been involved in next to none. I work the doors a little bit as well, but I work next to none when it came to being in the street. Whereas before I started boxing in my 20s, I was fighting every weekend in Nottingham. That was just the thing. Out in streets, in pubs, you name it. But you get that discipline and you know what you're doing and that confidence and that calm.
Well, you become
kind of almost this.
You're mixing around professional people in a professional sports environment. That's their livelihood. They're the most peaceful people because they're beating the crap out of each other every day. There's no bravado. Well, there's bravado, but there's not like they don't need to like go around like I'm the biggest baddest ass.
Got nothing to prove, have they?
Because they're proving it every fight. I mean, I'd go to train, but it really was train hard, fight easy in London shoot fighters. I mean, I was the gatekeeper for years. Anyone come in, I'd have to like, really, someone's turned up. I've got to go and. It sounds pretty brutal, like we'd try and beat them up. But if someone come down to rumble, I'd be the one who would have to go and show him who the daddy was. And I'm like, so I'll be on the toilet for 20 minutes. Right, it's a proper fight. It's a proper fight, you know. Yeah.
But it's the most primitive thing and it's the oldest sport. Like people try and change. He's trying to change DNA. Like, look, people have altercations. People will deal with it in a conflictual way, whether that be violence in a lot of circumstances. And like boxing is probably one of the oldest sports, if not the oldest sports there is. It's people challenging themselves in a ring. So it's a natural thing to do. When people call it barbaric and everything else, you're going against your human instinct is to do those kind of things. But it should obviously be done in a controlled manner in a ring and everything else. Big advocate for that.
Do you think
people don't understand it?
What's your opinion on this? Are gloves more barbaric than bare knuckle?
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because like you've just said, you can't hit as hard with an ungloved fist because once you damage your hand, not even breaking it, but if you severely bruise it in the first round of a fight, you're then going to be pulling your punches and looking at other ways. Whereas chances are that's not going to happen inside of boxing clubs, and you're taking concussive punches for
That's the thing.
rounds upon rounds.
I mean, if I do land, I might hurt my fist, but obviously there's going to be a lot of collateral damage on if I get the right point, and that's just.
But it's going to be a knockout. It's going to be a cut. Yeah, it's going to be a cut, or it's going to be a knockout that will probably get the fight stopped.
Because your brain can't sustain that amount of intensity in one go. If I put a pad on it, it can take a lot more intensity because it's being padded out, so you get more damage sustained over a longer period. So there's an argument there that actually plastic gloves are more brutal because you're giving yourself more brain damage. It's a very interesting one.
Well, I used to spar with no head guard as well and the reason I used to do that as well is because it lures you into a bit of a false sense of security wearing a head guard. You think that I know it stops you from getting cut and everything else, but you kind of, when you got a head guard on, you think, well, I ain't going to get knocked out and I can walk on. And you take more punishment than you should in sparring.
100%.
So I never really used to, unless I was sparring. There's a guy called Big Red at the gym I used to spar with, and he's 6'8" and 22 stone. So I used to put a head guard on with him and try and stay the hell away from him. He sparred Eddie Hall quite recently, and I think he dropped Eddie Hall in sparring when he was training to fight the Mountain. So
what do you think of
he's a big boy. I like Eddie Hall. I like his.
I mean, as a boxer.
Yeah. Do you know what, mate? He is athletically gifted.
He is.
You know, to be able to do that sort of his size, technically, I think he was just looking for one punch kind of haymakers, which if he lands, like he's taking your head off. But you see, that's the problem with guys that big. It's endurance. Endurance at that size. And like you look at your Anthony Joshua's and all that as well, look, when you carry that much muscle at that size, you haven't got the endurance. Then you look at Usyk, you look at Tyson Fury, they can go for rounds upon rounds.
Usyk, unreal. I fought some real
I love him,
bangers.
I think he's brilliant.
I fought some real bangers, and they're powerful. I've actually not been hurt by them because I'm so wary about them. I stay out of range. And in reverse, I actually wobbled ex-UFC, what's his name? Dave Monet, ex-UFC. I fought so many people. Dave Monet, ex-UFC middleweight champion of the world, wobbled him with a right hand, which was probably one of the worst things I did because then I started headhunting. All my technique went out the window. I thought, right, he's going down. And he gathered his thoughts and knuckled down and recovered. And won on points, which was frustrating. Even though I beat the crap out of him, he still won on points because I wobbled him and I was headhunting. Just something I also want to add. I did a podcast the other day, and I mentioned that at one point in the world, I was ranked in the top 10 in MMA. People, he's full of shit. He's only had 10 fights. I'm like, well, if you look at my Wikipedia, it says I've only had 10 fights. That's not true. I just want to clear this up while I get the opportunity as we're talking about fighting. And it grated me a little bit. And I look at the people who were slagging me off, calling me a weirdo, and I'm like, oh, okay, another tough guy. And I'm like, but I guess what it is, fighting has always been that's who I am. That's my identity, even though people don't realise me as a fighter because they've not known how many fights I've had. And when I was ranked in the top 10, it was probably for a week, the ranking systems. And I'm like, but I was like, right, I made the top 10. I was a top guy. I was number 2 in the country here for a little while. I was fighting so actively. But he's not even had, he's crap. Listen, if you look at, you can see lots of fights I've had, they have been crap. And as you get older, your body doesn't work as well. And you should learn, that's when you learn to hang up your gloves. You take too many fights and you look old when you're not in your peak. And people don't realise, haven't seen me when I was in my peak. I was banging out people left, right and centre. I was submitting people. And my record on Sherdog isn't accurate. I had a fight with a guy called Lee Murray, who's a fearsome, highly ranked fighter. He's not even on. Our fight wasn't even put on Sherdog. I've got I think about 30 fights on Sherdog when I've had about 300.
Yeah, it is. It is. But you know that, don't you? So you know how good you were and what you felt. So you got nothing to prove. I kind of I followed your career like over the years, and I watched the fight live. Tom Kong Watson and
Yeah.
yourself. I actually watched it live, and I thought it was,
Do you know,
I thought it was
the
a
interesting
brilliant
thing
fight.
about
Do you know what? You always were game for it. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, mate, I wasn't fighting to beat him. I was fighting to prove to the world that I'm a real athlete. And he actually asked to fight me on several occasions when years before when I was top of the game because I was one of the top guys to beat. At one point, I was the top guy to beat, and then all of a sudden, I'm like I've been out of it for a while. I'd retired, and I'm in this celebrity world, and I get offered this TV show, which was great. This was actually before an ex-wife we're not going to even talk about. On my own merit, I've got my own TV show, Alex Reid, The Fight of My Life. And I was going to train all these martial arts. And at the end, used the martial arts to fight the world champion, who happened to be Tom Watson at the time, which was a bit stupid, really, because I'm training things like Krav Maga and Capoeira. How's that going to... but my point is, I had this big fight with Tom, and gone off on another tangent. I don't even know where I am now.
No, you had the fight with Tom. It went to points, didn't it?
It went to points, yeah. It went to points. I lost on a split decision, frustratingly.
Yeah, yeah. I like I say, I remember it. But what for you was your? Obviously, it's difficult because you've had so many. But what was your toughest fight? What would you say was your toughest fight?
I've had so many tough fights. I mean, the Tom Watson fight was a bloody hard fight. I tell you why, because it meant so much to me. It's a bit like when I did P Company with a sprint on my ankle. I wasn't in the best. I hadn't been training. I literally
Yeah,
trained for 6 months before it. I trained 6 months, but I hadn't been training for 2 years. I was in the celebrity world, so that was hard. And all of a sudden, I've got this opportunity to get back into it again. And the guy who wanted to fight me was now the world champion. And all of a sudden, the roles have been reversed. And I'm not even a fighter. I'm just some celebrity who's got this opportunity. Hold on a minute, people. Don't you know I was the pinnacle of mixed martial arts in this country? I brought it to the forefront. I was there at the start in 1998 at my first cage fight in 1998. It was one of the first cage fights in the country. I'm like, people, I was the go-to man. And I'm like, all of a sudden, all I am is a celebrity who doesn't... I'm like, really?
yeah. But that had only been to sort of the people that were into celebrity stuff. The people that knew fighting knew you kind of your background and everything else that'll know that you was a proper like legitimate fighter.
I say all that because that really affected me. That fueled me. That was great. That made me so hungry to prove everybody wrong. So, to that degree, Tom hit me with a knee in the fourth round. It's 5-minute rounds. So the penultimate round, and my eye exploded like in a kaleidoscope. The socket broke. I nearly popped out, and it was like I saw like 8 of him. And it's like I was fighting on something else, on magic, literally. But I had so much determination to stick right to the bitter end and to try and take him out. That probably wasn't the hardest. The hardest fight was actually the last fight I had. And why was that the hardest? Because I wasn't battling so much the other opponent. It was an older fight. I fought in Bellator in 2016. Shouldn't have fought. I hobbled into the cage because I've got so many injuries. So I needed at the time double hip operation, which I hadn't had. And I'm a kicker, but it hurt me more to throw a kick than to actually take one. Because I couldn't sprawl. I remember the commentary. It was live on around the world, and the commentators. This guy's can't even sprawl. Sprawl's when you basically put your hips to the ground so someone can't take you, pick your legs up, pick you up and dump you. And I was like Frankenstein. I couldn't move. And the worst thing about it, I was publicly destroyed by the Sun newspaper for a month before the fight. I did a deal with the Sun. I hadn't fought again at that point in 2-3 years, and this was like a comeback fight to remind people of the. I had some negative press, negative media. I wanted to remind people of the champion. So I thought this is a great opportunity. I wasn't fighting the most crazy, scary fight in the world. He was a little bit younger than me, so around the same age, a bit older. What was I? I was 44 then. No, sorry. I was 30. Sorry, I was 42. I wasn't the scariest fighter that I used to be. I was a bit battle worn, so. And he's gone blank. Give me a sec.
That's too many fights.
Yeah, too many fights. What happened? So I did a deal with the Sun newspaper to promote this fight. I wanted to remind people of the champion that I was, all of the good stuff. And the first Sunday, it was the Sun on Sunday, and what they did, the first one was, they said, bear with us, it's going to be a bit horrible. We want to like paint out all of the bad stuff that's happened, but every week it's going to get better to like a crescendo just before the fight to make you out to be a superhero. All right, okay. So the first article was like, I'm only famous for being somebody's ex. I'm this, I'm that, I'm terrible, I've done this bad. I'm like, all I've got left is fighting. I thought, this is horrible. And I've done a deal with them to promote me. I'm like, look, don't worry, Alex, it's going to get better every week. We're going to make you up. I'm like, okay, cool. The next week it got worse. And the third, the pen is much mightier than the sword. That was playing on me. I mean, like, I was training as hard as I can. I was training like I was 10 years younger, which wasn't good because I'm not 10 years younger. I was getting beaten up by 16-year-olds. There was 16. I say that because a 16-year-old at the time was beating me up in the gym. But he's not any 16. He's going to be the next world champion, badass. He now fights on Bellator. He's one of the best fighters in the world. That was obviously nearly 10 years ago. He was beating me up. The week before the fight, I got the better of him. So I'm back. But you can imagine, I've just been out of the gym for 3 years, right? And then I'm back in the gym with these young lads where they eat, sleep and breathe MMA. And they've got all these new techniques and they're like running around. I've got the heart, but you can't fight with your heart every single session. You have to save that for like wars. If you fight with your heart every single session, it's not that you're being tough. You know, when you go to the inner depths of your ultimate being to beat your opponent, you can't do that every session. It's too draining. So I have that. I know that. So when I see these kids beat me in the gym, I'm like, all right, okay, let's see what if we actually go for real. I know I've got that in the background. So the week before the fight, I got the better of him, and I'm all right. Yeah, I'm ready. But that was on a Saturday, so you spar like about a week before a fight, then you go really light. You don't, because you don't want to get hurt. On the Sunday, out come this newspaper article. I'm like, right, they're going to build me up. It's going to be great, and it absolutely destroyed me. It made me. I was, what the hell? I've done this. The whole reason I've done this whole fight is to remind people of the champion, the pure athlete who just is all about focus, is so dedicated and loves his family. And it was painting me out to be a bad guy. I'm like, what the? I was so devastated. And then the promoter, unfortunately, he told me, look, I know you're stressed and everything. The night before the fight, he said, come and sleep in my hotel room. Get away from the missus. The hotel room's right next to the arena. And he came in and he was drunk. He came in at 2:00 in the morning and woke me up. And then he started snoring. And I'm like, this is the night before a big fight. And I'm like, oh, mate, I went and,
Not what you need, is it?
I went and slept on the couch in the foyer. The night before a big fight. What the hell? And then he told me, like, don't worry, and I apologise about last night. Just go and relax upstairs, and I'll get someone to come and call you when you're ready. You're on 8:00. So I'm in my hotel room at 7:00. I get a knock from one of the runners saying, you're on in 5 minutes. What? Hey? He told me the promoter told me in an hour's time, and he said, you were going to come and sort me out and walk me over. So I literally ran from the hotel room to the arena, fighting with the security guards at the front of the arena because they wouldn't let me in. I said, can you hear that? I'm on next. That's me. Oh, okay. They rushed me through. Big John McCarthy, the UFC referee. I'm like, fucking hell, Alex, you got to calm down. You're on next. I'm like, then I thought, right, shit. It's no good being. I didn't warm up. I literally put my wraps on as I was walking to the cage. Hadn't warmed up. Hadn't thrown a punch. And I got to the cage all stressed out, all high blood pressure going all over the place. And I'm like, damn. Okay. When John McCarthy said, Alex, you calm down. I did calm down. I thought, right, I'm here now. No, I better get on with it and do it. So I didn't warm up. My warm up was running and fighting with the security guards to get in the arena in the first place. And I lost on points, and I couldn't walk properly. And like the commentator said, this guy can't even sprawl. And I'm like, well, I couldn't. I was like, it was more painful to sprawl than to.
But Mother Nature waits for no one, doesn't it?
Sorry?
Yeah, but Mother Nature waits for no one. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter what happens. You know, there becomes a point, and if you've had a hard fought career and everything else, the things that you can't fight against Mother Nature, can you? You can only do so much, and there's a longevity in sports, combat sports, and to still be doing it in your early 30s.
Yeah.
I mean, that unless you're an exceptional kind of specimen, where some guys have genetics and everything else, but you know, look,
but
reality is
also, even with the genetics, you have to have extremely clean living, and you need to iron sharpens iron. You have to be mixing with young sharp studs who are literally killers, and that takes its toll. You can't keep doing that. I look at all of the great fighters like Fyodor Emelianenko, who was one of the most baddest asses on the planet. He got towards the end, he was getting knocked out, and he never got knocked out. He was getting knocked out by everybody and getting beaten by people who should never have been beaten. Another guy, Anderson Silva, amazing, and then just a point where you know, same age as me, so fought on the same shows. Weirdly, he used to be a cage rage champion when I used to fight for cage rage. But Anderson Silva, as you said, time catches up with everybody. I've seen so many champions who shouldn't fight. They get back in there. Who was the guy who Victor Belfort knocked out in a boxing match? Evander Holyfield. How sad. Evander Holyfield gets knocked out by Victor Belfort. It's just not. It's like, Look,
you've got to let it go. You've got to let it go before, you know, there comes a time and you kind of, you know yourself. You've been in combat sports. Obviously, my level is far, far lower than yours. I'm under no illusion of that. But like, whenever you've done anything mixed martial arts, whether it's boxing at any level, your brain, and you do it because you enjoy it. It's weird trying to explain to someone that you enjoy getting punched in the face, isn't it?
Well, it's really weird. This goes to my. I won't say I've not been diagnosed with multiple personality or bipolar or anything, and we all put on hats. We all put on different hats. You're a different person to your children than you are to your mate down the pub, to someone in the gym. I could be the most alpha male in the room, and then the most unconfident. So I don't quite understand that. I've never quite. It's like I don't know if I've got some problems mentally. But and I see other fighters. I'm really fascinated by studying other fighters. Victor Belfort, I just mentioned him. He was, again, the same problems. He was super confident and the most alpha male in all his, and he's fought at the highest level. He's a world champion at one point in UFC, and then he'd be other fights. He'd be so unconfident. And what goes on in here? I don't know who I am. Literally, sometimes when I'm fighting. I don't even remember fights. What happened? Do you remember your fights?
To a certain extent. The first few I fought, probably, you know, I don't know how you kind of, but the first few I fought on adrenaline and lost my shit. And then it's exhausting, and your red mist comes down and you're fighting on anger. And as I went through and had more and more boxing and more spars, it was more controlled, and
so
I started to remember.
You've been
but no,
in scary
I don't really
situations, right? In the military. Let's look at something which was really scary. I don't know, maybe you didn't find it scary at all. Jumping out of an airplane. Did you? Were you no problem with that?
Hated it.
I hated it. I remember shutting my eyes once and running past the door, and because my eyes were shut, and the RAF dispatcher pulled me back and threw me out, and it's port side, starboard side, and I nearly hit the guy in the air. All I got in the way, Reid, you effing idiot, you're dead. Got landed. Oh, I'm all right. Then a guy running from this direction, one from that direction, all to go and fill me in. My point is, I don't remember what's going on because the fear, I find it so scary. I don't know what's going on. Do you remember in scary situations everything? Are you in control or? My dad said this. This is one thing he did say when I spoke to my dad about being in the military. Weren't you scared when like the other guys started firing at you? He says, no, your training just takes over. You just go through your operating procedures. So that's how I find what happens. I don't even know what happens. I've been in a few fights. I've been on a door once. Managed to do a door, called blimey, many moons ago. And there was a fight started. And the next minute, I'm at the front door covered in blood. I'm like, what happened? Reid, you just knocked out 3 people. What? Someone hit me over the head with a bottle. Someone over in a push. There was a load of gypsies. This was in Cheeks in Aldershot, good old Cheeks. And there was a load of...
I remember Cheeks.
A load of squaddies on the other side. And I happened to be in the middle. And the next minute, I'm like, oh, Reid, you better change your shirt. You're covered in blood. What happened? You knocked out 3 people. Hey? Hey? I don't remember it. Why am I asking that? Do you remember everything? It's like I black out.
No, I don't. You kind of have. It becomes a bit sketchy. But with me, the weird bit is like, if you, I don't know. No, I don't. I'd have to say probably I don't know. I don't remember especially when the adrenaline kicks in and you kind of have a red mist, whether it's like a real situation. Yeah. I remember every single sparring session I've ever had or stuff like that. But when it's a real fight, when it's a real situation in the street, when it's being shot at, where it's being blown at, I recall it being focused at the time and in control, but then the memory becomes like less sort of as time goes on, happened? And you almost like think,
it's like what happened now? It's like amnesia. What the hell happened? I want to know. It's so frustrating.
But it's true what you say about the training and everything else. And even now to this day, I joke about it. We go out on the drill yard, and because I know it's a drill, I'm half invested. I'm doing it properly, but there's not as much enthusiasm there. You're going through the motions because it's pretend. It's a drill. Yeah. It's a bit like sparring. 2:00 in the morning when there's a house fire and there's people hanging out of windows and the fire engine rocks up and you get there. It's like I go into another sort of switched on. Yeah. I know exactly what's happening. I'm here. I'm doing this. I'm switched on. I've got that done out. I'm doing it on absolute instinct.
I'm kind of happy.
I'm fully aware of what's going on.
Someone who's a scaredy cat. Weird. I'm a scaredy cat. It's mad. But then all of a sudden I become a hero. And I don't even know what's going on. And I just find something just takes over and you become somebody else. And I'm like...
Well, it's flight or fight, isn't it? It's a common phrase, so flight or fight.
That happens. And I'm like, well, hang on. Who's that? How did that... Quite impressed with myself.
It is, but the flight or fight's a real thing, mate. Where people... that you've either got it in you to fight or to flight. Yeah. A flight or run away. And there's not a lot you can do about that. If you're someone that will run, you're someone that will run. If you're someone that will fight, you will stand and fight regardless of what your body's telling you to do. It's just one of them things. You either one way or another.
I think kids have changed me because now I'm like, right, I need to run here. You need to protect your... You have to start thinking about the bigger picture. Whereas,
absolutely,
I've often been in situations. What? Oh, I'm scared. I just don't like this. Like road rage. Someone's got out of the car to like. I'm like, and all of a sudden I'm getting out of the car, and I'm like, there's a little boy inside crying, but then there's another boy who's like, I'm like, oh.
but that's
and I'm getting scared.
But that's good because
I'm literally going to probably kill someone. I'm like, no, listen to the little boy.
But that's normal. That is normal, isn't it? It's normal, but it's better to be that way and have that nervousness. Because if you didn't have that nervousness and you just had the end product of enjoying that, you'd be psychotic. Do you know? And anyone that says to me that they don't get scared before they go into a ring, they don't get scared before they jump out of a plane, they
Oh,
don't get scared before they go into a house fire, or climb a mountain, or do a bungee jump, or do a drive, then they're not wired up right. Nerves are very, very
I've
normal, and
met a
if you
few of
don't
those
get them,
people. I'm
that's the
sure you
opposite.
have.
I have,
And
yeah.
you're like, I find it fascinating. Would you not get scared of that? Do you not?
Well, they're either lying, or they're genuinely psychotic.
Yeah.
I can never work out. Right, so
Questions then.
what I wanted to concentrate on was obviously we talked about you've been involved in some volatile relationships in the past. I wanted to know how they kind of affected you and how you've recovered from them. And also I'd like to talk about when you if that coincides with being diagnosed with autism. And also the last question would be what have you got coming up, and future projects. So yeah, recovery from being in some sort of volatile situations and relationships in the past, how is that going, and how has the road been to recovery? Because this again I think will be beneficial for people that have found themselves
Yeah.
in very, very similar circumstances to yourself.
Well, I've had two very high-profile relationships in the media, and they've both caused me such collateral damage. I've been I'm not doing a Paul me or Victor. I've become the pantomime bad guy in those relationships. Although that's changing now because the truth always comes out, and you can't be painted to be something so bad and continually be that way. Well, I'm not that way. If you look at my social media, I'm doing all this sterling good work. I work for all these different charities. I'm not trying to say that to big myself up, but I'm doing all this good stuff. I train children. I'm advanced DBS. It was at CRB. I can't remember which one it is. Checked to train children. To encourage them, to empower them. So I've got these beautiful children in my life now. So if I'm really a bad guy, I must be putting on a really good act. I'm the best actor in the world as well. So, well, I am an actor, but I mean, you can't put on an act all the time. So having been denigrated so bad, it used to really affect me to the point where I've been suicidal. As I said, the pen is mightier than the sword. I talked about a fight where I went back into the fighting cage, the fighting arena, to remind people of the champion I was. And had a more detrimental effect because the media, kept saying the most horrible, horrific things about me. I'm like, hold a minute, you're supposed to be building me up. I'm struggling here because I'm not as young as I used to be, and I'm getting beaten up by a 16-year-old kid. He happens to be a badass. He's going to be a world champion, but obviously it's not good for your mental health. I mean, and I've done enough scary and big things, accomplishments, which have made me proud. And why do I need to keep doing this? Why do I keep needing to prove myself? We talked about earlier, I considered having another fight, a bare knuckle fight. And I thought, what am I doing this for? I'm just doing this for my ego. I have literally, only literally in the last year, finally accepted who I am. I've been looking for acceptance, mixing with gangsters, with bad guys, joined the army, getting all these fights, because I was a scared little kid, ultimately just looking for love. And there's been so much inner reflection of who I am and what makes me tick. And actually, I'm a nice guy. I'm a good guy. You're an all right guy. You're not an all right. You're a really good guy. And start to love myself. And it's been so bloody tough. So tough because I've not wanted to be here. I've had lots of therapy for suicide. It's I've not wanted to be here because it's been so painful. There's been a lot of pain. There's things I can't go into for legal reasons. You could probably guess what they are if you just look at something. I've now founded the Bob Reid Foundation to look after parents going through the family courts. I'm very lucky that I have 4 beautiful children, and the 3 little ones are now they've just given me the most. I thank God literally every day. I literally thank God. I've found a relationship with God. I've gone all around the world looking at spirituality, done everything, ayahuasca, multiple religions, Kabbalah, Sufism, witch doctors, done multiple ceremonies, trying to understand what life's all about. I was like this from a little kid, wanting to understand why are we here. ask so many questions. And the number one thing that keeps me here, obviously my children, but not just my children, myself. I have a purpose. And the reason why I've had therapy and not killed myself is because that's selfish. I've got work to do. I've got so many things I need to do to help make this world a better place. And obviously, my children need me. I need me. I'm a good guy and I need to do stuff. I have to remind myself because there's times where you don't want to be like that. You had enough. Life gets so bloody hard. You know, you might not be able to pay the bills. You want certain things in your life. Life can get really hard, as Rocky says. Nothing hit you as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit, and keep moving forward. Yeah. What was the other question?
Yes, so yeah, no, it's like it's good that you've obviously found yourself and you're on the up and you've gone through a healing process and you're in a positive place. That's really, really good.
That's one of the reasons why I do these podcasts, because I have been so down, and I understand they help me. It's cathartic chatting to you. I mean, I find you interesting. I get offered podcasts all the time, but obviously the paratrooper connection. I know we don't want to keep it too paratroopy, although it's called the old paratrooper. But I mean, and I'm an ex-paratrooper. It's good to converse on such subjects. And the mental aspect, we're roughly the same age. You know, another person who's gone through the trials and tribulations of life. And because as you get older, it's good to have references from other people. We can't help but compare ourselves to other people. How do you deal with the problems? How do I deal with the problems? It's good to have a reference.
Well, it is, and it's true. And the reason I kind of do the podcast again, like I've said, is I get to talk to interesting people like yourself as well. But I also get to talk to, so you're big bad scary former paratrooper, big bad scary former MMA fighter, but you're being very vulnerable here, and you're opening yourself up to explain about the struggles you've had with mental health and with suicide and stuff, and how you've bounced back. So my idea has always been that if I can get people like yourself talking about your issues and how you kind of bounce back and being open about it, someone will see this podcast and go, well, if Alex Reid could do it, he's a former paratrooper and an MMA fighter, or Johnny Nelson can talk about stuff, or guys that are Falklands and SES people that I've had on the podcast, if they can talk about their emotions, then anyone can. So that is good, and I'm thankful that you've come on and you have been open and stuff, and it's good to see. It's good also to see an aspect of their life that I've not heard you talk about before on any other podcast, with it being the Paras. And I know you said you didn't want it to make it all about, but it's good because we've heard about other bits and bobs about you, but you've never really, for me, I've not seen you ever talk about being in temper, so it's a good thing.
People might think, well, what have you got to complain about? I can think, this is me, my insecurity, and it was also, I guess it's warranted because I'm trying to reach as many people as possible. You've had a wonderful life, you had this and that, and you've got all this celebrity. You've got to realise, I was in that celebrity world, but you can be the loneliest person. I didn't have a support group around me. Well, I did, but the support group were all trying to profit and make money from me. I didn't really make any money because all the money got spent on legal fees and people stealing it off me. When, trying to destroy your whole personality. What's kept me here is having purpose and remembering that I've achieved a lot. And I look at it and it's difficult because I've also got all of these negative headlines, like I'm a bum, I'm some sort of sexual deviant, all of the fun stuff. And I'm like, you're only this because of her. I'm like, huh? And I laugh because it's like, well, I've achieved, and you have to remember, I've achieved all this great stuff, and I have to have this battle with myself. Hang on, I don't want to have a battle though. It's starting to get to the point where, rather than having a battle, as I said, accepting myself. And now, although the other day I did a podcast the other day, and people were calling me a weirdo and what have you, and that hurt me a bit. Many people have said this. True power is when you really don't care about what other people think.
True. That's when it's very freeing.
I mean, I think it's important to care, like what certain people. I mean, if you're a brand, you need to have some brand awareness. If you're, I I do things that upset my partner. And we all do. Who
Yeah.
doesn't? You know,
Yeah.
you didn't consult me about this. You might consult your manager. You might, but this upsets me, and you're like, you have to. It's all very well. I've done something which I think is going to be strategically great for my business and for me as a brand, but then it upsets your partner. You're like, well, it's all swings and roundabouts. You have to try and balance it out.
Yeah, no, absolutely, pal. And you know, the last two things now, and I've got to be really quick because I've got to shoot soon. Obviously, the autism diagnosis, and I'm not a big fan of labels. I say this a lot, right? So I found out 4 years ago when me I had ADHD. I'm not a big fan of the whole label, putting a label on it, but for me, it helped me understand my own brain, how I think, why I've been thinking the way I have over the years, and it's basically helped me process and understand myself. So for the last 4 years, I've been in the best place I possibly could be just from finding out that diagnosis. So my question to you is, after finding out that you kind of, or in the process of finding out or suspecting you have autism or wherever you're at with it, has that made you understand your own brain and thought process better and why you feel the way you do?
100%. Understanding I have Asperger's autism has really helped. I understand myself. It's like, that's why you did that. That's why I've been easily manipulated, and I'm like, I'm a dream come true for someone who's a narcissist or a manipulator. I'm not trying to go into victim mode by any means. Just trying to understand why I've done silly things, and I think, why didn't I listen to mum or dad? Why didn't I listen to that person? And you think, well, because there's 10 other people over here saying it's more shiny and sparkly and new. And it's influencing that part of my brain, which is going to draw me away. Yeah. And I go all over the place, which is, I mean, I won Celebrity Big Brother, and with having the lowest odds, I was 40-1 odds to win, to becoming the highest voter, and the highest ever vote in the history. 69% of the viewers vote, 20 million people. And I'm like, I get it. Hang on. I mean, it was nice that people, but I'm like, why did they vote for me? I don't know, what's the vulnerability, the innocence. And I have to look at it's because people saw that I was a good guy deep down. But and it's really a psychological experiment, Big Brother, and why I won it. Because it's like, why did I win it? What did I do that was... Obviously, I surprised people that I wasn't what they expected me to be. And it'd be good to have another thing like that to happen again, because the public could forget so easily again. You can become... I was the most popular man in the country for literally a couple of days, maybe a week. Then all of a sudden the bad media went down again. Maybe I wasn't the most unpopular, but in my own head, I felt like that because of all of the bad negative. Again, the pen is mightier than the sword. Although
It is, but I also think that people, obviously, if people's got, I've watched you on various podcasts, I've watched you on various post-fight interviews, and I've watched you on, I'm an average person when it comes to judging people.
you're not an average person, you're a paratrooper.
Well, obviously former paratrooper, yeah. But like my point being is, I can weigh up and I can see that you come across as a good person. So when you read these articles about you, you go no. And I think what I'm trying to say is that I think anyone that's got anything about them can see that the media has perhaps contrived a lot of bullshit about you over the years. You know what I mean? That's what I kind of can see. Whereas you come across as a really nice bloke, come across as a nice guy. We've spoke a bit, off air and on the phone and stuff, and you come across as a great guy to me, pal. So I don't.
The autism, I think, ultimately, I always felt like the outsider, not part of the group, not invite. So I've been invited into the group many times, and and I often find myself not purposely coming away from it, but I go into the group, but then I go everywhere. I don't really feel like I fit in anywhere, and I'm not really sure where I'm supposed to be, and that's insecurity, which is really weird because I can become the most secure alpha male in the room at the same time. And I don't know where that is with the autism, but I doubt, and I'm not sure what's going on. I think in such a different way, clearly. I've been told this so many times by so many people. And I'm like, what? Because I've banged my head against the wall so many times, it's been painful. You have to you start realising as you get older. That's why I had the autism diagnosis in the first place. What's going on? Something's not working right in my life. I keep getting in trouble here that I'm obviously saying too much. I'm coming across wrong. And I'm a good guy. I know I'm a good guy. Look at One Big Brother with all those votes. And I was the baddest. I was like the most unpopular guy in the country to the most popular guy in the country, and then back again. So what I'm trying to work it out what it is. And I guess that's the autism diagnosis has helped me with that. Brain is just going 1,000 miles an hour. That's probably ADHD, which I haven't been diagnosed for, but although I've been told I'm screaming ADHD.
They all fit into the same sort of family within certain aspects, but the ADHD is like having 1,000 squirrels running around in your brain at one time. It's struggling to focus. Yet when you find something that you really like, you become hyper focused. So for me, my missus gets like Fredders with me when I'm on about the podcast because I live, sleep, breathe the podcast at the minute, trying to get guests, trying to edit episodes because I'm hyper focused, and then everything else goes out the window. And if it's something you're not interested in, you might as well be talking to a brick wall because I'm not going to absorb that information.
It's not that I'm not interested, but how many times in this, because I've been extremely interested, but I think I've been so, my brain goes, I don't know about you. Sorry, what was it we were just talking about?
No,
that's what I do. That's what I do.
No, not with that. What I was trying to say, I know I wasn't saying that you weren't interested in whatever. But what I'm trying to say is,
that's what I do. I'm like, all this information. I'm like, that's too much.
It's just too much.
This much information is trying to get through there. It's not happening.
Oh, it's bonkers, mate, and it is. But once you understand it, and you go down the routes of trying to and getting it, it honestly changes your life. It's changed my life, no end. So hopefully, when you get the diagnosis and you look at the different avenues that are available to you, hopefully that will make a difference in understanding a bit more as well. Anyway, I've really got to start wrapping up. I could talk to you for hours, Alex. Well, we have done.
We have.
But the last thing I want to talk about is what have you got upcoming? What's down the line? What have you been thinking about?
Okay, well, it's funny. I've been offered fights. I don't know if I'm going to take those. I hobble now. I'm not interested in fighting anymore. I mean, I'm saying that if someone offers me 25 million, then I'm in there now.
Oh God, I'd fight anyone for 25 million.
I challenged Jake Paul last year because he was looking at getting into MMA, and I don't even mind falling over for the right price. Well, I've got something very interesting coming. I can't tell you, but I can say there's a new reality show coming out, a big new one, and it's right up my street. It's mainstream, and it would be perfect for me. And if that doesn't happen, there'd be something else like that. I think it'd be good for me to do. I'm ready to do something like that again. I haven't done anything like that for a while, purposely trying to find myself. I've got some acting gigs coming up. I'm still doing a bit of acting here and there. And number one, being the best dad I can be. And I'm not again going to say what the acting gigs are because I've signed NDAs, non-circumvent, non-disclosure agreements, but they're good, and ultimately, I just said being the best dad. I love being a dad.
No, mate, I'm being happy, hopefully, as well. And you do come across to seem in a happy place, mate. And and it's good to see. I think you deserve it. So fair play to you.
Oh, do my own podcast. I think that
sounds like a good idea. Who put that to you?
Yeah.
Who put that idea to you, Alex? That's a good idea.
That, but I have actually been thinking about that for a long time, and I'm thinking, hang on, I know a lot of interesting people, and it's going to be interesting editing it. If I'm as bad, I need to switch off the ADHD and the autism brain, or maybe I don't.
Well, if you need a hand with it, I'll not say the name of the platform that I use, but there's a very, very good platform that uses AI and helps you edit, and it makes it a lot easier because I am literally, when it comes to that sort of stuff, I find it really, really difficult. Men of a certain age, but I've mastered it over time. But I think a podcast with yourself would be really, really successful because you've got a lot of interesting stuff you can say. And on that podcast, you can say what the hell you want within reason, and it doesn't matter if you're controversial and everything else. Look, as long as you keep names and stuff out of it, you can have your opinion, and people like that. Podcasts are popular when people actually speak their mind and talk about stuff that people avoid talking about. And I'm not trying to get you in trouble.
Oh, the last thing, I'm nifty years old next year. Nifty. So being nifty at 50, I'm actually doing an active campaign, nifty at 50, to reverse my biological age. Doing lots of, honestly, I still teach people martial arts, which I thoroughly enjoy. Not as active, but I mean, it's good to keeps my mind young, and it's something I absolutely love. So I love training people, but health. Want to live a long, healthy life. There's all these different products and things we can do to live a much more economical, beautiful life. So that's what I'm all about. And what about you?
Well, with me, I'm just trying to focus on this podcast, pal. Trying to focus on the podcast, keep in shape. Same sort of sketch, really, with the trying to be, keep youthful and keep active, training. And like I say, trying to make the podcast a success. I've got a merch range out, like I say. I'm just trying to really get the messages out there, like what we talk. But the main goal was always to raise awareness for mental health and kind of help people along the way. Like you say, you get to a certain age where you kind of get rid of that sort of ego of wanting to be this and be that. Whereas I couldn't give a shit anymore what people think. I just want to do good things and put something back. So that's it really. So I'm happy. I'm in the best place I've ever been in. I think I'm happy. Lots of holidays. Great relationship with all three of my children. So yeah, it's all good, man.
Do you know what I think we need to do though? Is actually you either come to, where do you live now?
North Nottingham, pal.
North Nottingham, back in Sherwood.
Yeah.
Would you ever come down to Aldershot?
I could pop down to Aldershot, mate. I've been meaning to get down that neck of the woods for a time on one of the reunions and stuff like that.
Maybe a reunion, an Airborne Forces Day or something. Come down. I'd love to meet you and have a pint in the Trafalgar. Maybe we'd do the 10 para, the 10 miler.
Yeah, maybe we will as well. Yeah, we'll see about that one. I can do the pint bit.
We can do it in 10 hours. We can hobble around.
2 week. No, I'd be more than up for that, pal. I'd love to get the opportunity to meet you and say hello and have a pint with you. Absolutely. But hopefully you'll stay in touch or on WhatsApp and everything else. Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure, pal. A thoroughly interesting chat. And I look forward to staying in touch with you. I'll keep you posted about the podcast, pal. But you take care, and it's good to see you on the up, mate. You keep staying positive, right? Cheers, pal.
Bravo.
Hit the ground, no sound but the wind jumped out the sky where the real work begins. Iraq heat, cold steel on the front line, security tight, walking edge of a landmine. Somali seas, deck slick with the salt, eyes sharp, never blink, never halt. Surveillance in the mist, eyes on the prize. UK streets to foreign skies, from fire calls to bare knuckle rings, still fighting demons that memory brings. Oh, Kevin, tune in now, feel the truth get louder. This is the old paratrooper, no powder, no script, no mask, no lies, just facts. Mental health raw in boots or slacks, ADHD to the PTS pain. We're breaking silence, not playing games. Old paratrooper podcast, stay locked in. Stories from the edge where the healing begins. Not a saint, just a voice for the ones who never had a fucking choice. From the wire to the ward, from smoke to the dark, every scar on the soul is a battle mark. Memories haunting, can't shake the past, but together we fight, we stand steadfast. Loud engines roar, feel the thunder, every story under.